family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself.
That wasn't a diss track. That wasn't a rap battle. That was T.I. with his own son in a headlock at an NFL game, broadcast live while thousands watched in real time. And the crazy part? That moment doesn't even happen if the beef with 50 Cent never explodes in the first place. Because what started as a simple Verzuz challenge between two certified legends turned into one of the most personal, most disrespectful wars hip-hop has seen in years. Mothers dragged, wives posted, snitch allegations thrown, diss tracks dropped. And then, when the whole culture expected gunfire to keep flying, T.I. did the one thing nobody saw coming. He reached out. But before we get to that apology, we need to understand how this whole thing caught fire in the first place. This tension didn't just pop up overnight. T.I. and 50 Cent have been circling each other since the early 2000s. Atsuro, two alphas from two different coasts, Tip out of Atlanta, Bankhead representative, trap pioneer, 50 out of South Jamaica, Queens, bulletproof vest era, mixtape massacre legend. Both of them came into the game with street credibility that wasn't manufactured in a boardroom. For years, it looked like mutual respect. Award shows, industry events, no direct shots, but when you put two dominant personalities in the same space, especially in an industry where rankings matter, that quiet tension never really disappears. It just waits. Fast forward to the Verzuz era. The culture was hungry for heavyweight matchups, and according to T.I. during a television promo run in Los Angeles, he and 50 had a private conversation, a handshake understanding. The plan was simple. Tip would issue the public challenge. 50 would step up and accept. The fans would get a historic showdown. But when the time came to honor that understanding, Tip says 50 went silent. No confirmation. No acknowledgement, just distance. By early February 2026, T.I. was done keeping it quiet. He pulled up on Shannon Sharp's Nightcap podcast and said it with his chest.
Nah, I said I wanted 50. That's what I said. He don't want no smoke, though. Oh, no. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke. He ducking smoke. It's cool.
That clip traveled fast. Within hours, every timeline had it. Tip wasn't being subtle. He was publicly labeling 50 Cent as someone ducking the challenge. And if you know anything about 50's brand, although you know being called a duck is not something he ignores, 50 responded the way he always does, Instagram. He started posting old court appearance clips of T.I. flipping the narrative. Then came the meme, forget Verzuz, let's do the stay away challenge. A laugh emoji. Casual, dismissive, the kind of energy designed to make your opponent look thirsty before the battle even starts. But it didn't stop there. On February 11th, 50 escalated it further by calling T.I. King Rat on Instagram. And in hip-hop, that word carries weight. Snitch allegations tied back to T.I.'s 2007 federal firearms case suddenly resurfaced. That label doesn't fade with platinum plaques. It lingers. Now, the beef wasn't about music anymore. It wasn't about catalogs. It was about character. T.I. fired back online, claiming only one of them had paperwork and telling 50 to either lace up for Verzuz or stop playing with his name. The social media back and forth was entertaining. Everybody knew what was coming next. Wax. When rappers feel disrespected, they don't just tweet, they record. On February 22nd, T.I. sat down on $1 million worth of game and laid out his side of the alleged betrayal. He described the private agreement, he described the ghosting, and he made it clear that, in his eyes, this wasn't just about a battle anymore, it was about integrity. Then the studio lights came on. A snippet titled War surfaced. Aggressive tone, heavy production, voila, intent clear. The gloves were officially off, and at this point, the culture was locked in. Two veterans, public accusations, snitch labels flying, diss tracks loading, but what nobody realized yet was that the next move wouldn't just shake the rap game, it would pull family into the battlefield, and once that line gets crossed, there's no easy way back. By the time War hit the internet, this wasn't a friendly competition anymore. This wasn't two legends trading playful jabs for promo. T.I. sounded like a man who felt violated, and then he dropped the right one. The energy was darker, more direct. This wasn't coded language or slick metaphors. Tip was dismantling 50's persona piece by piece, painting him as a troll, hiding behind memes instead of standing on principle. He questioned his authenticity, his character, his relevance. Oh, and then he crossed a line. In one of the most controversial moments of the entire record, T.I. took aim at 50 Cent's late mother, a deceased parent. In rap beef, that's sacred territory. Even battle-hardened veterans hesitate before stepping there. The internet split instantly. Half the culture said, this is rap. No rules, no mercy. The other half said, dead family members are off limits. But before that debate could even settle, 50 Cent responded in a way nobody predicted. He didn't drop a diss record. He didn't hop on live. He went to Instagram and posted an unflattering photo of T.I.'s wife, Tiny. One picture. That's all it took. The caption warned them to keep his name out of their mouths, but the message was louder than the words. Spouses were now in play. An innocent woman who hadn't said a word about Verzuz, about smoke, about rap rankings, suddenly found herself posted to millions. That move shifted everything. The battlefield expanded. Because when you bring a wife into it, you're not just attacking an artist, you're attacking a household. And that's when King Harris entered the picture. He didn't wait for a PR team. He didn't draft a careful statement. He went live. His voice wasn't calm. It wasn't strategic, it was emotional, protective. You could hear the tension shaking through the screen.
How y'all raised? I'm not raised like that.
That was a son, feeling like his mother had been publicly humiliated. And in his mind, there had to be consequences. But what he said next detonated the entire situation.
So tell your mama dig her up and post a picture that look better than my mama.
In one sentence, the beef left the rap arena completely. A young man telling 50 Cent to dig up his deceased mother. A woman who was murdered when he was 8 years old. That's not trolling, that's nuclear. And King didn't soften it. He doubled down.
I want to say something about my mama. Your mama, go dig her up.
You could hear it, anger bleeding into pain. This wasn't a rapper crafting a punchline. This was a son defending his mother the only way he knew how. But the problem is, when you swing that hard, you don't just hit your target. You hit everything around it. The internet exploded. Some people said 50 started it by posting Tiny. Others said King crossed a boundary you never cross. 50 responded the way he always does, through mockery. He posted a meme comparing King to Pepe the Frog and called the whole family ugly, flipping a deeply emotional moment into internet comedy. It was classic 50. Reduce the opponent to a joke before they can build momentum. But even that didn't cool it down. Then 50 did something colder. He hopped online and announced he had just sold out a Broadway production. Not a diss, not a rebuttal. A la flex. While T.I. was in the booth recording records and King was on live defending his mom, 50 was posting sold-out theater receipts. That's psychological warfare. It shifts the conversation from bars to relevance, from emotion to status. It quietly says, while you're arguing, I'm elevating. And that move hit harder than a response track would have. Now, the culture wasn't just asking who won the beef, they were asking who still held the power in 2026. Because at this point, the situation was spiraling. Diss tracks, dead mothers mentioned, wives posted, sons going live, memes flying. The tension was thick enough to cut. And then, right when it felt like this thing was about to explode beyond the internet, something unexpected happened. Right when it felt like this was about to spiral into something nobody could control, everything went quiet. On February 25th, 50 Cent wiped his Instagram clean of anything related to T.I. Every meme, every jab, every post, gone, like the beef never happened. And if you know 50's history, that's not normal. This is the same man who stretched feuds for years. Ja Rule, Rick Ross, Floyd Mayweather. When 50 locks in, he usually doesn't retreat. So when the posts disappeared, the internet started asking questions. Was he reloading? Was something legal happening behind the scenes? Or did somebody finally pick up the phone? Because according to sources close to both camps, T.I. made a move nobody expected. After weeks of calling for smoke, after diss tracks, after personal lines got crossed, Tip reportedly reached out directly. Not through Instagram, not through blogs, phone to phone. And the word that kept surfacing from that private exchange was simple: apology. Not a public apology, not a press conference, not a kneeling surrender, a grown man conversation acknowledging that things had gone too far. When mothers, living and deceased, get dragged into a dispute between two men with decades of legacy, it stops being competitive and starts being destructive. And T.I., for all his pride, is not new to consequences. He survived federal cases, prison time, career resurrection. He understands escalation. At some point, protecting your family becomes more important than winning a public battle. And look at the timing. 50 deletes the posts. Neither side fires another shot. The daily back and forth stops instantly. In a war that had both men posting multiple times a day, the silence became louder than the insults ever were. Now, skeptics immediately pointed to timing. T.I.'s album Kill the King was approaching. Some argued the entire ordeal could have been calculated promo. Manufactured smoke to reignite conversation. And let's be real, the music industry has done that before. Conflict sells, headlines move units, a feud with 50 Cent guarantees attention. But promo or not, the de-escalation still happened. And in hip-hop, that's rare, because pride usually keeps things burning long after they should have been put out. But here's where the story takes another turn. This wasn't the first time T.I. Creole found himself in a public confrontation that blurred the line between authority and emotion. 2 years before the 50 Cent situation, there was another moment that went viral for very different reasons. November 26th, 2023, Atlanta Falcons game, family suite. What was supposed to be a normal Sunday outing turned into a father-son confrontation broadcast live. King Harris went on Instagram Live inside the stadium suite, and what viewers saw wasn't scripted, it wasn't filtered, it was raw. T.I. Challenged his son about toughness, about struggle, about claiming a lifestyle you didn't grow up in.
King, have you ever woke up with a roach on your face?
No, that's not the goal.
All right, then. So there it goes.
Or in your ear.
That question wasn't random. It was generational. I grew up in poverty. King grew up privileged. And in that moment, Tip was confronting what he saw as performative street identity. But King wasn't backing down.
What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business.
That phrase became his anthem, his defense. His declaration that he wasn't soft, that he wasn't just a product of comfort, that he was his own man, but emotion escalated, words overlapped, pride clashed, and then it went physical. I locked his son in a headlock while cameras rolled.
You are embarrassing yourself and your family. You embarrassing yourself. You are embarrassing yourself.
6 seconds that replayed across every blog and timeline. A Grammy-winning rapper grappling with his own child in public, not to harm him, but to control the moment before it got worse. Tiny stepped in. October pulled them apart. But the damage was done. The internet had already clipped it, archived it, turned it into commentary. Afterward, King posted defiant messages. T.I. told the public to mind their business. The family dynamic was exposed in real time. And that's what makes this entire saga layered. The beef with 50 Cent showed how quickly pride and legacy can escalate into something dangerous. The Falcons incident showed how that same intensity plays out inside a household. In both situations, the common thread was control, respect, identity, and maybe that's why the apology mattered, because at some point, a man has to decide whether he wants to win the argument or protect what's attached to his name. The diss tracks faded, the memes stopped, the posts disappeared, but the lessons? Those stick longer than any viral moment ever will.